This is the world's largest train model display. Built by Bruce William Zaccagnino, this entire setup with over 50,000 feet of track that runs through all different type of scenery, like mountains that tower over you, city buildings, haunted houses, a junkyard, and so much more, was almost all destroyed in October of 2019. The property was put up for sale, and the new owner, Tariq Sohail, bought it with the intention of having extra warehouse space. But when he stepped inside the building, he couldn't believe what he saw and decided to keep it the way it was. So let's take a closer look at everything in Northlandz.
I just walked in and I'm already blown away. This display is huge, and along the way there's different buttons you can press that does stuff, so let's find out. So for this one, you can hear the baseball game that's going on. Ever since I was a kid, I've been a fan of miniatures and stuff like this, so this is really cool to see. Over here, this button says hold the buttons and move the engines back and forth. I think it's supposed to be that engine, but it appears to not be working. I'm not sure what it is, but something about just watching this is so peaceful. I'm just having a really fun time just watching it and soaking it all in. Also, I do like this. As you go along, they have different facts so you can better understand what you're looking at. So this area is called Joycetown. It was completed December 5th, 2016 and took approximately 900 hours to complete. This little area says lazy deer, holding up traffic in all of Joycetown. And if you look right there, you can see the deer blocking the road, and it creates all this traffic. This car even fell off the road. It was so bad. Over here, this one says, on this unfortunate train, all passengers got off safely. And of course, it's referring to this train that fell off the track. Somehow they all got off safe. You can see everybody in the town came out for this. Here's a really cool one. In here, you look all the way down and it just keeps going. Now, for some reason, as you go along, there's different random collections that you can see, and this is one of them. Here you have like a dollhouse with a bunch of people doing random stuff, and then over here you have some more items. Everyone's got a collection for something, and here's this one. Now, as great as all of these were so far, this next one might be my favorite. If you look here, it gives you a whole synopsis of what happened to the town. Apparently, it was a thriving place where everyone went until the springs mysteriously dried up one day, making the hotel go out of business, and everyone left. And if you look here, it says push the button, listen to the thunderstorm. Let's do it. There we go, the storm's coming in. But hey, here's the good news. The Ghostbusters are in town. And at the end of all of this, you have this really big, creepy hotel. I could probably look at this one all day, but we gotta move on. Over on this side is the second part of the ghost town, and it's basically the same idea with the beat up buildings everywhere. And for some reason, as you move along, it seems like the buildings get more and more destroyed to the point where they're just nothing. And then right next to all of that, you have another huge pit that just goes all the way down. Over here at this display, we have another button. You can hear the marching band. So that's the band right there. They're looking great. And then this sign's pretty funny. It just says Grandma's Summer Home, and there's her home right there. It's just completely on its own. Over on this end is another huge factory. I don't know who designed this because it's gonna fall off the mountain. Why would you build your factory right on the side there? Up on the top of all of this, you can see ski lifts. There's about 4 of them right there. And then of course, I gotta point this out. With all of these buildings, one of them happens to be Pizza Hut. But not only Pizza Hut, it's one of the old buildings. This whole display was built in the mid-90s, so that Pizza Hut was definitely put there when all the buildings looked like that. Also, just look at how many railroads there are. It just loops and spins all around. You don't go that long without seeing a train. Now, of course, how could you have a display like this and not have a carnival section? You can see all the people having fun there, but let's actually bring them to life with these buttons. Push the top button to fill the tender. Let's do the red one first. Well, I'm pressing it, but unfortunately nothing's happening. What a shame. I wanted to see the carnival come to life. Over here, you just have a bunch of them all together with all the trains going in different directions. They also use a mirror effect, so it looks like it's longer than it actually is. Now, if you didn't want to see all that green and mountains and everything, here's the area for you. You have this huge city with a bunch of tall buildings everywhere. Also, there is a button here, so let's see what it does. It just gives you sounds of the city to make it feel more alive. You can also see some other stuff at the bottom here. This is a movie theater that's playing Casablanca, and you even have this huge ship. Through here, you can see the whole control board and everything. You're not allowed to go in there, but you can get a good look at it. At this point, no one should be surprised. Of course, it's impressive. You can't even comprehend the scale of it unless if you see it in person. Around this side, you have another button. Doesn't really say anything, so let's see what it does. Unfortunately, it looks like it's another one where it does nothing. But you do have this switch over here. You can move the engine back and forth. Oh, and look, it actually does work. There it is. It wants to go this way. Actually, it changes his mind. Oh, wait. Oh, Oh, this is the most indecisive train ever. No. And right in front of the train, you got the world's only toothpick farm. Hey, that's a record worth having. Almost looks like bamboo. Hold on, I gotta point this out. I've been here for around an hour, and I just saw this sign. You are now 25% of the way through. I thought I was reaching close to the end. I'm not even halfway. Over here, if you hold this button down, it spins the OK sign. And then there goes the train. With this button, you can make the car spin in circles. It's doing the craziest donuts ever. And then you get to see much more of the town. Over on this side, we got this random collection of Elvis dolls. Over here, you got a collection of trains. They look a lot older. And would you look at that, you even have a real railroad crossing sign. I'm not sure if you can tell, but that is so high up there. I'm really almost out of words at this point. Like seriously, I have to look up this much just to see the top of it. This says push the button, set off the emergency alarms. You can hear the fire truck coming through, trying to take out the smoke. Here's just a random window of stuff donated by this person. And one of them happens to be that Raggedy Ann doll that I saw way too much of in another video where I went to the American Treasure Tour Museum. I don't need to see these anymore in my life. Wow, look at this train. This is the biggest one yet. And you even have this button that says turn on the railroad light. When you press it, that light turns on. But out of all of this, I actually found this fact to be pretty interesting. It's possible to travel from Portugal to Vietnam solely by train. At 17,000 kilometers, it's the longest train journey in the world. Over in one of the windows, you have this roller coaster. Let's watch it go. So it goes to the top, and it's going. Here we have a whole section dedicated to the carnival. I gotta say, that roller coaster looks insane. I would love if that was real. Here you have the mining section. I like this area. It seems very calm and nice. And then as we make our way around this corner, it just continues. And as you're walking through, you pass over this huge bridge. This really is the type of place where you can come 5 times and still miss stuff. And then you have this little section that's kind of tucked away, but you have every president in there besides for some of the few newer ones. Around here, you get to see more of it. I was over there with the city, and now I'm viewing it from this side. But the craziest thing of them all is aliens actually showed up. And if you push this button, they start dancing around. They came to Earth just to do that. And I'm guessing over there is the White House. Interesting spot for it, but there it is. Now over here is definitely the fall section. You can see all the leaves on the ground. And how perfect, right next to that, you have the winter section where everything's all snowy. And we even have a couple buttons. So this one actually turns on the ski lift and you can watch them move. This orange one turns on the ice skating. And then this red one turns on this building. This might be the creepiest section of the tour, but we'll just move past that. This button turns on the lights. And over by Grandma's pit, you can watch the hot air balloons go up and down. And wouldn't you know it, the aliens dropped their UFO over there. Over here, you have the sad remains of beat up trains. It's just piles of them all thrown together. Over here, you have this huge hotel, but apparently it just grew too big, so they kept adding on stuff to the point where they thought it was going to tip over. Over there, you have an outdoor theater. There's barely any of those anymore. And all the way in the back, you have a stadium. Over on this side, you get a better view of the UFO. And if you hold this button, you can lift candy. You can barely see them, but it's an M&M. Now, if you want to talk about random, here it is. You have this little Star Wars display. But if you read there, it says dedicated to George Lucas for inspiring him to build models. And speaking of movies, we also got The Wizard of Oz. At the end of this hallway, you get a close-up of where they control everything. And right at the end, you get a couple Christmas stuff, but I have to point these 3 out. When I saw these right now, it was a major throwback because I used to watch this video on YouTube where it had these guys dancing around. Well, they don't really move that much, but they do sing. And then over here by this side of the building, they usually have a big train that goes all around, but it seems to not be working right now.
If you like model trains or miniature displays of any kind, I would definitely recommend coming here. Make sure to subscribe, and I am now selling merch. Click the link in the description to get yours today.